Hello everyone, how are you all doing? Now in this video, I'm going to be talking about something that I see a lot in coaching calls, something that people struggle with a lot, and also something that I struggled with myself. And that was a real lack of discipline, okay? The demotivation, that downward spiral that you find yourself in when the momentum hasn't been built. We often talk about a robust mindset, okay? And that will mean consistent work, overcoming problems, overcoming obstacles, overcoming all kinds of challenges. And OCD is just one of those big challenges to overcome. The recovery journey is all about problem solving. OCD is throwing punches at you left, right, and centre. So it's about rolling with those punches, dealing with those punches, and ultimately overcoming that by a shift in perspectives, cutting the compulsions, so looking at all the behaviours that's keeping you stuck in that cycle, and obviously changing our rational beliefs into what's fueling that cycle and keeping us stuck. Okay, so a real lack of discipline. Now, you're going to have to just get used to doing things over and over and over again, being consistent, doing things regardless of how you feel. Because if you waited until you felt motivated, you'd still be waiting until you die, because you're not going to suddenly feel motivated. It doesn't quite work like that. I remember when I kept coming into calls with Rob, and I'd feel very motivated after the call and think, right, this is it now. I'm going to really go for it. I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to work on recovery like my life depends on it. What would happen? About half an hour after the call, I'd probably get triggered by something, and that would be it. Here comes a downward spiral where, oh no, this is too difficult. I can't stand this anymore. I hate this. This one's real. I'm the exception. And the whininess, the moaning, the complaining, the victimizing came back. And it will do that because OCD is a very relentless disorder. It's very difficult. It's certainly not easy, okay? And this is why you build habits to do it anyway, okay? You build the problem-solving habits. You think, you know what? I am going to do it regardless. I am not going to wait until I feel motivated. I am going to put in recovery work regardless. I'm not going to wait until I feel committed, dedicated, determined. I'm just going to do it regardless. Sometimes you got to just grin and bear it. Sometimes you got to show that real grit and determination just to get things done. Just to get it done and get on with it. Okay, and recovery is very much like that. And this is what links into the main topic of this video. And this is the importance of building momentum on the recovery journey. Momentum is crucial. Momentum is everything when you think about it. Because if I said to you, hey, you're only going to put in recovery work one day a month. Okay, let me run through what would happen. So we get to the 16th of September, the day I'm recording this video, and this is your recovery work day. So you put in all the work, you read 50 pages of the book, you do your hour-long disputing, you do an exposure, you do a shame attack, and you're feeling, right, that's my recovery work. Let's say you waited a month to do it again. What's going to happen between now and the 16th of October, right? You are going to probably get triggered a lot. You are going to have bouts of demotivation, all the chronic symptoms at some point along the way. OCD will be triggering you left, right, and centre, finding different ways to get in there. You're going to feel quite low as well sometimes. Just you wake up, you might just feel anxious for no particular reason. Maybe a bit of fear, scared of it coming back. Because if you're so used to avoiding things and so on, if you're then taking that risk and doing your exposures, that's going to raise the anxiety symptoms anyway. So if you then go, well, I'll put on recovery work in a month's time, it's not really going to work, okay? You're not really going to follow through with it. That's certainly not being consistent, okay? By the time you next come around to putting in recovery work, you probably won't be bothered anyway because you probably feel so rubbish and you probably feel, well, what's the point, right? So what I tend to advise is to get into that momentum of putting in recovery work, okay? Because if you're trying to have the robust mindset, because OCD recovery requires robustness, okay? You get very good at dealing with problems. You get very good at solving problems, overcoming obstacles, overcoming hurdles, right? So as you build that, let's say you're really working hard to remove your procrastination behaviors. So you're going, right, today I'm not going to wait to do anything. I'm just going to get things done no matter how I feel. And you're doing that again and again and again and again and again. So you're working really hard at that. So you've built the momentum to overcome procrastination. You've built the momentum to face your fears and do your exposures and confronting your fears and going out your comfort zone and taking that risk and taking the leap. You've built the momentum there. Now, yes, you're going to fall off your bike. Yes, you're going to slip up at times, but because you've built the momentum, it's much easier to get back on your bike and carry on going. Yes, it's challenging to get back on your bike because here we go, here come the symptoms, here comes the doom and gloom, here we go again, that kind of language, that doesn't help. But that's very natural, and I certainly did that. I built momentum, and then I'd have a setback, I'd get massively triggered, I'd have a week of just, oh my God, here we go, victimizing, saying I was never going to get better, and that neverness, that's overgeneralizing, say, well, I'm triggered now, that's it, I'm done, I tried it didn't work for me, that catastrophic like thinking. Now, it's hard to get back on your bike, but if you initially build the momentum, you can get back on your bike much quicker if you just do recovery work in crisis, if you just do recovery work every now and then, okay, because you're back on your bike and you really start taking those steps, like, we are going for this, we're really marching our way there, okay, that kind of thing, that kind of attitude, because that's crucial, okay, because if you don't build the momentum, then that downward spiral hits 10 times harder, because it's like, oh, I haven't put in any recovery work and I still feel shit and I'm going to feel worse and I'm gradually getting worse and worse and worse, getting more triggered, OCD's latching to everything, the downward spiral is going to boom, boom, right? But even if you're getting triggered, if you're going, right, I'm still going to push through, I'm still going to march on, I'm still going to do all the tools, I'm still going to read the books, I'm still going to do my disputing, I'm still going to do my exposures, my shame attacks, have regular, consistent coaching calls, I'm still going to be active in the groups, I'm still going to be looking at all the YouTube content, not compulsively, but I'm still going to be aware of expanding my knowledge on OCD, I'm really going for it, okay? Because the biggest thing that I see is laziness, and that's not because people choose to be lazy, it's because it's easy, it's comfortable, it's safety. So for example, it's easy just to go to work, come home, sit on the sofa, watch Netflix, go to bed, get up, go to work, come home, watch Netflix, go to the gym every now and then. It's easy to do that, okay? But real momentum is built from overcoming obstacles, okay? When you're in the face of adversity, when you're staring at the hardship head on and you're thinking, how do I deal with this? How do I overcome this? Okay, and you've got to look at different ways of how you can overcome obstacles. How can I change my perspective on this? Okay, I'm obviously avoiding that, so what am I scared of here? Right, how can I go towards that? How can I confront the fear? How can I go out of my way to prioritize recovery work? Because it comes back to this is the question that it boils down to. How much do you want it? How much do you want to get better? I have to ask myself that very honestly at times. I remember once stood in front of the mirror and said, Sam, how much do you want to get better? And I asked myself this question when I kept putting off exposures. I was like, this is too difficult. This is too much. I'll do it tomorrow. I won't be able to get over this. Oh, the anxiety will be too high. I'll never come back from this. This will haunt me forever. So I had to think, Sam, how much do you want to get better? You can talk a good game, Sam. You can say you want to get better. You can say you do all you can to recover. But when the talking, you have to put the talking into action. When the proof's in the pudding and you've got to get on with it, you don't do it, okay? When the chance is there, you bottle it. You say, no, I can't do that, it's too difficult. So we can all say, every human being in the world can say, you know what, I want to get better. I would do whatever I can to recover, but action is a lot rarer. Putting that talk, putting that thinking, putting that mindset into action, into practice is a lot more rarer, okay? And Albert Ellis summed this up. And this quote changed my life. It's a very simple quote, but it changed my life. He said, people get an insight into what bothers them, but don't do a damn thing about it. And I thought, well, that's me. I've got a great insight into what's going on and what I need to do, especially when I was having regular coaching calls with Rob. And if you're coming in for coaching calls, you get an insight into what's bothering you, what you need to do, the steps needed to overcome it, the books you got to read, the exposures you got to do, the disputing you got to do, the facing fears, all the things you got to do. So you've got all the insight there. It's been handed to you on a plate, but you're going, hang on, nope, I'm going to chuck it away. It's too difficult, right? So you get an insight into what's holding you back, to what's keeping you stuck, what's keeping you locked in the cycle, but then you're doing nothing about changing it. And that comes from lack of discipline, lack of consistency, demotivation, only doing things on how you feel, giving up when the going gets tough. And I often say to people, you're going to have to go the distance here. You're going to have to cover the real hard ground. Remember, OCD recovery is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You can't find a shortcut. You can't suddenly find a loophole and then you're recovered. right? You can't suddenly cut a corner and then you're there. OCD is relentless. It does not budge at just a sudden mantra in the mind. Oh, if I just don't do this, if I don't change any of my perspectives at all, if I don't worry about exposures, cut the compulsion here and there, and just say, it's just a silly little OCD thought, I've nailed it. It's not going to work, right? You can't skim read the books either. It's something that I did. I remember reading the first book, when I finally picked up the courage to read the first book, when I finally stopped waiting for the motivation to get better, picked up the first book, skimmed it. And I didn't only skim it, I looked for that magic sentence that was going to solve all my problems. Didn't quite work, because I had to then know, and I got reminded of this very often, that Sam, you're going to have to cover the distance here. You're going to have to really go for it. You've got to go, you know what, I'm going to read this book, but no one is going to take time. So yes, you're taking the key principles away from the book, applying it to your own thinking, but it's not designed for a sudden, quick fix. You're dealing with a very serious, difficult, challenging mental health disorder. Do you really think that's going to budge overnight by just telling yourself a mantra, by just putting in the work every now and then when you can be asked? Do you think that's going to work when you just think, you know what, today I fancy reading 5 pages of the book, it might suddenly go? You're going to have to really want it. And this is why you do not see thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people just recovered. You see lots of people putting in the work, lots of people getting better to robust recovery, which is awesome. But the thing that holds people back is just the lack of action, the lack of discipline, the real waiting for that certain feeling, waiting to feel a specific way to do something. Get on with it regardless. Let's start building momentum. Let's start laying the foundations. Let's start setting the building blocks to getting better. And the first thing you can do is doing the work regardless of how you feel. If you're waiting, you could be sat on your deathbed waiting. Do it as if your life depends on it, because let's be honest, it does. When you're stuck with OCD, the avoidance, all the compulsions, your life is becoming more and more restricted, and you're stuck in that mental prison, in all the parameters of OCD. I can't do this, that's too difficult. Oh, I can't do that, that's too scary. Oh no, I can't do that exposure, that's way too much. Oh no, I can't read that book, I can't be bothered. Oh, I haven't got time to do that exposure. That compulsion keeps me safe. I hear this all day long. Okay, so it comes back to the question. It's like if you use this question, let's say football, which is my favourite sport, football. You often hear, how much do you want it? How much do you want to get better? If somebody's playing football and they're going in for a tackle and they don't go in to win the ball, they just half-heartedly go in, they'll come off worse. They won't win the ball and they'll probably end up injured in the process as well. Okay, and that comes down to a lack of discipline, a lack of real commitment to getting better. Okay, the commitment to winning the ball, right? Because if you really want something, you're going to have to go for it. You can't just suddenly wake up and then you're better, okay? If you have that attitude, if you have that mindset, you are going to struggle with this, because look what you're dealing with. You're dealing with a disorder that's, latching to things left, right and centre. We all know how difficult it is. You listen to this video, you know how difficult it is because you wouldn't be listening to me, but you know what it's doing. You feel like you get over one thing and it's found the next thing. It's one step ahead of you and you feel like you've conquered one thing and then boom, it's got into something else. And the fear, and it's like, oh shit, I just feel so bad. That's what's going to happen, okay? So it boils down to your discipline and the consistent work that you're putting in, okay, to really build that momentum and to showing your brain, hey, I really do want to get better and I'm going to do whatever it takes. Okay, you can't kid yourself to recovery. You can't fool yourself to recovery. You can't just sort of stumble your way there. Okay, you've got to march and keep going, keep rolling with all the punches and just keep pushing along, building that momentum. If you slip up, compassion is key. You get back on your bike, you keep going. Okay, because it's relentless. But if you give up and then start procrastinating again and say, oh, it's too difficult, and you start engaging with the addictive behaviours, start indulging in the unhealthy habits again, going back to your old way of thinking, which is very easy to do because I did it myself and I see it a lot on coaching calls, because it's easy to think the old way and go back to your old habits, especially when you've got real events going on and life gets difficult, because it will. Life is very difficult. So it's hard to fall back into that trap. But if you really are serious about getting better and want to pull yourself out of it, it's down to you. You've got to hold yourself accountable and think, well, what am I doing and what more could I be doing to get better? Okay, I'm going to leave you on this quick note. You tell me what inspirational hope and recovery stories are built on procrastination. What hope stories are built on demotivation? What hope stories are built on just the odd work here and there, not really going for it. Okay, what I want to read about, I want to read about a recovery story where somebody has faced real adversity right in the face, where they've had a real event going on and they've had to overcome that, and they've OCD, then they've had an illness, then they've lost their job, then a financial problem. And then if they can overcome that, yes, they're going to have to take the steps to getting over that with momentum is what I'm talking about. You get over one thing, then the next, you keep pushing on, no matter what life's thrown at you, you keep pushing on, you're getting over that. That's the stories I want to read about. Those are the inspirational, remarkable, amazing stories. Not somebody that has sat on their ass for 5 years because they couldn't be bothered, sat there with their hand in a packet of crisps, watching Netflix, not really doing much. Okay? The stories aren't going to be built that way. And recovery certainly will not be achieved in that laziness way of living. Okay? If you're serious about getting better, you've got to really go for it. The importance of building momentum on the recovery journey. If you are interested in coaching calls, please email phil@ocdrecovery.com. So I'm Sam, you've got Rob here, you've got Nick, Momin and Gemma. So please email Phil to get in touch and we will book you in as soon as we can. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, please leave a like and we'll speak again. Bye-bye.